Hey everyone, it's Sammy from Pushsquare, and I'm quite literally drowning in PlayStation VR games at the moment. But that's no bad thing. There's been a lot of really cool stuff lately, and I've been having a blast with practically everything I've been playing. So the game I want to review in this video is called Infinite Minigolf, which is a title I've been pleasantly surprised by in PlayStation VR. So before I get into my impressions, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation VR stuff. And then let's get into it. So this is by Zen Studios, who you may probably know best for the Zen Pinball or Pinball FX games. It's actually the spiritual successor to an old PlayStation 3 game called Planet Minigolf, and just like that game, it lets you create your own courses and share them online. What's really cool is that the user-generated content is actually cross-console, so whatever you make on the PS4 can be played on the Nintendo Switch, PC and Xbox, and vice versa. That practically guarantees an enormous roster of content, although of course not all of it is going to be good. I'll get into the course creation a little later in the video, but first I want to talk about the virtual reality. So this game can be played on a standard television, VR isn't required at all, and it plays and looks great on the TV, but what I personally wasn't expecting is how much better it is with PlayStation VR. You know, I thought this was going to be more of a throwaway virtual reality mode given that it's totally optional and stuff, but it looks incredible in VR and it works really well. There are 3 environments in the game, spanning a Toy Story style bedroom, a Nightmare Before Christmas inspired Halloween theme, and a Christmas one, and they all look pin sharp on PS4 Pro with PlayStation VR. This is genuinely one of the cleanest, clearest games I think I've played on PlayStation VR to date. It's really impressive. So as for the golf, this is a super accessible game. Courses are short, as you'd expect them to be, and you literally only need to set the power for your shots. There's no sort of accuracy mechanic like in Everybody's Golf. But while that may sound off-putting, if you'll pardon the pun, it's best to think of this as more of a puzzle game, as the scoring system is extremely complex, rewarding you for ricochets and collectibles and all sorts of stuff like that. Basically, the more skillful your shot, the better you'll do. There are a total of 12 pre-made tournaments across the 3 environments, and each has 3 difficulty settings. That alone is honestly a fair amount of content, but it's the course creator that's going to keep you hooked. So in VR I really like the way this is integrated. Basically it plops you in front of a giant computer or a screen and it allows you to get to work on that. But if you look over your shoulder you can take a look at what you're actually building in the background, which is really cool. It's actually a very intuitive course creator with some good controls and lots of gimmicks to play around with. I made a course called Put Square, which has lots of ramps and power-ups because those are the kind of courses I personally like to play, and I'm really happy with the result. I think some people might find it a little bit frustrating because you kind of have to get a hole in one to beat it properly, but I felt like I was able to create exactly what I'd envisioned in under an hour, which is cool. So there's a quick play option in the game which basically throws random user created courses in your general direction and allows you to complete them one after another, which is actually quite fun, and if you hit the pass score on each course you'll be able to claim tokens which can then be spent on cosmetic unlocks for your character. The avatars, of which you can pick from a boy or a girl, are a little bit DreamWorks, a little bit Xbox Avatar-y, but I kind of dig my character. Again, getting up close to them in VR is pretty impressive because they look so big. There is a course browser that lets you search for certain stages or even filter the user-generated content, but as you'd expect there's already some pretty rubbish levels on the servers. I think it's hugely important that the developer works to ensure that the best stuff is filtered to the top, because I spent a bit of time in quick play and just got delivered some really rubbish stages during my time with it. I played an online tournament too, and that seemed to keep throwing awful courses at my competitor and I, so it's imperative, like I say, that the good stuff quickly gets pushed to the top, because there's going to be a lot of people just uploading rubbish, low effort courses just to get the trophies in the game. One thing I will criticise is that I'm not a fan of the levelling system at all really. It basically revolves around you completing mini challenges, which is fine, but sometimes these encourage you to use power-ups that may not be on any of the levels that you're playing on. For example, I guess the idea here is that you're supposed to go and make a stage with that mechanic, but it seems like a lot of effort just to level up. There's also an in-game currency which can be spent on sticker packs for tokens, which can then be used to buy new costumes. If you're not following following me, it's pretty convoluted, but you'll wrap your head around it eventually. And like I said, I think you probably will want to wrap your head around it because the game looks great and is very accessible, and it should live up to its name. With cross-console user-generated content, there'll never be a shortage of things for you to play. Infinite minigolf. That's cool, and if the developer can keep ensuring that the best content is always pushed to the top, then I'm game. One thing I almost forgot to mention is just how quickly the user-generated content loads. I mean, look at this, I'm scrolling through a bunch of levels here and they're loading in almost immediately. It's a pretty impressive technical feat in my opinion. So yeah, I enjoy this game a lot. The VR mode looks gorgeous and it's really comfortable to play. And if you don't have VR, then it's still an enjoyable game on a standard TV too. It's simple and accessible, but that's not always a bad thing, and there's ample depth in the scoring system if you want to find it. Plus, you can just create some uber nefarious courses if you want a bit of added challenge. But let me know whether this is your cup of tea in the comments section, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for much more like it. Until next time, thanks for watching.